Hi, my name is Guðrún.
My name is Disa.
And I'm Birta. And we are going to show you the beauty of Earth and how it's being neglected.
Believe it or not, only in the last few decades have we been destroying the Earth and its natural resources. We have created factories that not only pollute the air and the environment, but also us and our minds.
We are treating the Earth like it's indispensable, but we have to remind ourselves that we only have one Earth and we have to treat it with care.
So, yes, what do I think about pollution? Well, of course we all know that pollution is a very big problem in our society today. And there's many different types of pollution. It can be chemical pollution, pollution of the atmosphere and of the surface and the soils. And I think we are slowly realizing the extent to which we have polluted our environment.
Mm-hmm.
And also we are slowly understanding the influence that this can have on ourselves, on our society and our bodies, the way we live. In general, it's a very big problem. In Iceland, we have sometimes thought that it's not such a big problem. We are surrounded by the ocean, and we sometimes think that the ocean can take endless amounts of waste. But as we will maybe discuss a bit later, this is not the case. Yeah. I think the most important thing in the fight against pollution is realizing that even if things go out of sight and we throw them away, they don't disappear. And that's very important. So for example, when you put your rubbish in the rubbish bin, it goes somewhere else. It doesn't evaporate from the surface of the planet. And we have to think about the materials that we use and the energy that we use from the whole life cycle of the product. So yes, for example, with things that you buy, let's say you buy a piece of clothing and then you throw it out. What happens to it afterwards? You have to be aware of that. When you're buying, when you're consuming things. The most important thing is to realize that nothing disappears. As an environmentalist and as a person, as a regular citizen, I of course have a role, just like you. And as a citizen, I always try to be. I think carefully about what I consume and how I consume it. I try not to buy things or use things that are disposable. So, for example, things that need you can only use once. I buy less. That's also a way of, be aware that your life's quality doesn't depend on the things that you buy. And the things that are very important in life are not the things that you own. And if you have that in mind, it's way easier to be a very smart, sensible consumer, for example. And we are constantly being told that we need to buy things, and we need a new this and a new that, and a new computer and a new iPhone, and the season's coolest outfit. But it doesn't make us better people. Another thing is that, of course, you have to recycle. Not throw any rubbish on the streets, and in general, just respect your environment and respect the people around you. Yes, so the ozone layer. Well, the ozone layer has been a bit of a problem for us for decades. Fortunately, in the 70s and 80s, when people were discovering the big holes in the ozone layer, the countries of the world were able to come to a sort of an agreement on what to do about it. So perhaps you're familiar with this. It was called the Montreal Protocol, and it's in a way similar to the Kyoto Protocol of the United Nations.
Yeah.
And it banned certain chemicals from being emitted into the atmosphere. So there's it's called CFC. They're called CFCs, and they are very damaging for the ozone layer. I have to admit, I did not know that we were cutting down 50 football fields a minute of trees, but I'm not surprised. Again, what is the reason why we're doing this? We have to ask ourselves that. Why are we cutting down all these trees? What are we using them for? Who is using them? Who owns the forests? What are we destroying by cutting down these trees? A lot of the time we are losing very valuable ecosystems that we don't really know much about. For example, in the rainforests. The responsibility is not only on us, you and me. It's not only on us. It's on the whole system. The people in power, the people who decide that a forest can be sold for manufacturing. The system, the economic system that encourages this unsustainable use of resources. And that's a system that it's based on very strange assumptions about human society and how we think and behave as people. Yes, I think when I saw this question, how long does it take to cut down a tree and how long does it take to grow a new one, I had to think about it for a while, but then actually I thought it was probably the best question that you asked me. It's a very rhetorical question, but it makes you think, and it reminds you that if we keep on cutting down the trees, we are really going to end up with no forests if we cut them down faster than they grow back. If we remove things from the ecosystems faster than the ecosystems can regenerate themselves, we're going to end up in a big minus. You can throw things out, but they will not disappear. They will accumulate somewhere and cause damage. And that's exactly what the plastic is doing in the oceans. And we're not just talking about plastic bags or fishing nets or other things like that. We're talking about micro pellets, for example, that you find in your facial scrub. They are tiny little pellets that are supposed to clean your skin and your pores out. And they're found in almost all beauty products except organic products. And they're made from plastic and they don't disappear. They go into the ocean and they have actually been found in the flesh of fish. So they do affect the ecosystem. It's a good reminder that things will remain in the ecosystems and they will affect not just us but all other species and thereby also us.
What do I think about pollution? I think pollution is one of the most serious and greatest threats to our way of life, to all life on this planet in fact, and to the planet or nature, the nature of the planet as such. And I think that if we don't do something about it in a positive, constructive way, take it seriously, our children and our grandchildren and our great grandchildren will face a future that we never wanted them to see. The most important steps that we can take, it is just like, for instance, peace. What do we do about war and violence? What do we do to create peace? It all starts at home. It starts with each individual. We all have to do something about it. And we all have to press our representatives that we elect if we live in a democracy. We all have to press the governments of the world to do the same, and all the individuals have to take their own personal steps. It will affect our lifestyle, the way we live. How we can stop using materials. I mean, take for instance the plastic islands that we are shown on, television or Facebook or whatever. There's so much plastic thrown away into the oceans that it is now forming some islands. Fish and birds and other life in the oceans are being either trapped or eating the plastic. There are all sorts of materials that we use in agriculture and in industry that gets poured into the sea, into the oceans of the earth, and the living creatures in the ocean, they eat or swallow this. And of course, when we eat these animals, it travels up the food chain into us and poison us as well. There are different kinds of plastic. Some plastics can be buried into the ground and they will gradually disappear. Other types of plastic, they will not, they take ages, it takes a very decades, very long time for that to break down. Think about what we can do ourselves and how we can encourage others to do the same, and that is to recycle, to stop using those materials that are most polluting. We are talking about plastics, yes, plastics. We can all carry a bag made of other material when we go shopping, for instance. We can all recycle paper, glass, metals. We can all make compost heaps from the food remains, or give it to feed the birds in the winter. There are many different ways that we can personally, and then we can live more sparingly. We can make little go longer, go further. Maybe the sort of consumptive, over-consumptive lifestyle that we live now, the throwaway culture that we live in now, is the root of much of this pollution. And I think not only should we do it, we have to do it. It's as simple as that. I have for many years always recycled paper. I recycle all plastic, glass, metal separately. I bring it all to Sorpa. And me and my husband, we are forest farmers in the north, so we have planted several thousand trees up in the north to try to increase or improve the carbon dioxide balance. So yes, I think all of these steps are important, and if each individual does this, if we do it all on an individual basis, and we encourage others and show them how to do it, especially children, I think if we had children, if we had programs in play schools and in primary schools about how to recycle, it will be part of a lifestyle of the children as they grow up. In Southeast Asia, hardwood forests are being cut down, which will destroy the livelihood of orangutan apes, for instance. I mean, all of this is, I would say, criminal. It is criminal, even if it produces money for some big firms. And I think we have to really, we have to exert pressure on these big firms by stop buying from them, you know, in order to compel them to change their motivation.
So, what are your thoughts about what we're doing to the ozone layer?
Yeah, that is very serious, and it is frightening that so many so-called educated political people are, you know, maintaining that the change or the global warming is not a man-made fact. I think that I believe that there are increasing data or signals coming forth that must in the end convince all of the people. What I fear personally is that when nations and governments really start doing something about it, it will be too late. That is my biggest fear, that they will deny it until it really is pressing up against their noses, and then it's too late. It is bad to our health because if the ozone layer, when there are holes in the ozone layer, too much sun and too much irradiation escapes through these holes, and they affect us. They can induce cancers in our bodies because we are not made to receive all these irradiation and strong sunshine. But it takes a long time for a tree to grow, but you can expect better changes when you educate people to do things differently. You know, to have other value systems. The problem with our way of life today, and I'm talking about the whole globe or earth, is the value systems that are prevalent in very many countries. So we have to think more about the value of life, human life and animal life, plant life, the life around us and nature. The more we care about this, the better I think we will be off, definitely.
Yeah. So, and finally, do you think we would be able to fix this mess that we've made? Like how or why?
Well, will we be able to fix this awful mess that we have made? I only answer in a very short way. Where there is a will, there is a way.